I hope all of you are doing amazing. The subject for today is going to be two parts. The number one is going to be self-development, which I have seen in the comments a lot of people appreciate. And when I bring up subjects that you always have in your mind but just don't really discuss with people. And I do like to go on these deeper subjects, to be honest, because it's something I always think about myself. I reflect on, listen to a lot of motivational speakers, all of these things. So I find it fascinating. So that's the first thing. And then the other thing we're going to talk about is incorporating weight training in calisthenics and the benefits I do see from doing it. So starting off with the self-development, I want you to have in your mind that you are always going to be better than the current state you are in. If you have a few things in mind, constantly just have them in the back of your head, that is actually easier than you think. I used to listen to a lot of motivational speakers and I would never really understand, like, how do I actually do something with my life? Like, I would listen to them, they say so many great things, my motivation is on top, but I would still never understand how the freak do I start this business? How the freak do I actually get to where I want to be? I never really understood those things. But it wasn't about finding this one thing that you know what to do. It wasn't about knowing exactly the path you're gonna pursue. It was about knowing what to avoid and which choices to make. And when those two things were clear, my life just started to get better and better and better until eventually I was on the right path without me really knowing I was going there. So the first thing is avoiding stuff that are gonna make you worse. And I can say some clear stuff, like number one, be associated with the wrong people or surround yourself with wrong people. And what I mean by this is, if you are on a path pursuing training, maybe you're starting a business, and you are surrounded with people that are limiting your capabilities of pursuing what you wanna do. They don't always need to be pushing you, helping you out, but at least be on a natural state. They should never be limiting you. If that is the case, they are not the right people to be surrounded with. That's the first. Then we have alcohol. And this is, even if you're not into training, this is still a thing that is gonna make you worse. In the current state, it may be really nice. Have a drink from time to time, that is fine. That is absolutely fine. But I mean over-consuming, going out each weekend, those things are just known to make you worse the day after. It's like a fact. And we know it from the beginning, so that is clearly a choice we can avoid. And then we make probably 1,000 choices every single day. It's regarding these small things, but can have a massive impact if you look on a long term, like 1 year. And this can, for example, be you're in the grocery store, right pronunciation for it. And you make choices. What are you gonna eat? What are you gonna buy? Are you gonna put money on this? Is it worth it? Are there any options for how expensive things are? Could you save money on something? Is it something with better nutrition? All of these small things will add up if you take these choices multiple months in a row. That's a fact. Then you have choices with training. Which exercises are you gonna perform? Are you gonna go to the gym? How long are you gonna be there? When you buy clothes, which clothes are you gonna buy? The functional ones? Are you gonna buy the most expensive ones to get an image that you want people to see you as? But probably wasting money at a young age? Or are you investing your money in something? All of these things are just millions of choices, and if you just make sort of the right ones, all of them doesn't always need to be intended to make you better tomorrow, but if the majority of them are, you will be better each and every day. It's just a fact. And you know, it's not gonna be this massive jump. You go from being pretty poor to a millionaire the day after. That is not the case. But if you take these cautious decisions every day that you can control, your life will ultimately move towards a better state. And when you have that in mind, you also know that you are always going to be better than the current state you're in right now. That is a fact. if you always have these things in mind. That also means that if you're having a really shitty day, have in mind everything will get better, because that is a fact. You are making decisions that are ultimately gonna lead you to a better place. If you're having a crazy good day, you feel like life can't get better than this, also have in mind you are gonna be at the better state. Life can get better because you're constantly making it. And that is just an insane thought, and one of the most craziest motivation things I've ever had, to be honest. And it was also what made me flip this thing with motivational speakers. I stopped really listening to exactly what they said. I just gained motivation, listened to the small advices, the small tweaks, and ultimately started making small decisions that would move me towards the direction I wanted to go. Game changer. Truly a game changer. And what I want you to have in mind with this as well is that I will never tell you that what I'm doing right now is the best thing. I will never tell you that the training methods I'm using is the best methods. I will never say anything that indicates that what I know right now is the best possible way, because that ultimately means that I have decided that the current state is my peak. Because if I know that I will get better, that also means I will gain more knowledge about training. I will gain more knowledge about everything I do, which ultimately means that I can't know exactly everything right now. There's a good quote I heard a while back. Intelligent people, they know nothing. Smart people, they know something. And stupid people, they know everything. And that is just so freaking true. So if you have anyone acting like they know everything, you know for a fact that they don't. Because this applies to so many freaking things. If anyone would come up to me and ask me, could you coach me to become a bodybuilder? And I would say yes, I would be lying them straight to their face. I know how to build the upper body, but I have freaking no idea about the legs. I've been spending 7 years in my niche, and I would never tell someone that I know something about the subject that I would need to act for. So know for a fact that you're not gonna know everything. And that's something I have accepted for myself as well. I know that in 1 year, my training style is not gonna look exactly the same. It's not gonna be what I'm doing right now, because in 1 year I will have more knowledge about my training. I will know a few more things that will change what I actually do. And I've accepted that. And that also means that I will never say that this is the best, because it can't be. There will always be small things to tweak. And never settle for the current state. But yeah, I think that was it for the inspirational part and self-development. And I do also want to talk a little bit about weights and incorporating weight training in the calisthenics. But I think that is going to be for inside the gym, in between the sets. We'll have that discussion, and I think it's going to be a pretty good one as well. It's the current training method I've been using. It's what I've been getting results from right now, and that's what I want to talk about. But no, it may not always be the best way, but it's definitely something I recommend people to do. And if it works out, then definitely add it to your training. I will see you guys inside the gym. We are sticking to the traditions. So starting off with some one-arm handstand, one-arm flags, hopefully, if it's a good day. But it feels pretty all right. So let's do a few sets, and then we move on to Maltese. Could be worse, being the first one. I think I gotta chalk up way more. Feel slightly slippery. Or I didn't let it dry enough. Let's do like 2 more sets, I think. and we should get some solid holds. Slightly better. Not perfect, doesn't feel like 100% connection, but solid few second holds at least. So let's do one more set and then I think we're done for the warm up, play around, handstand. Always have it just for the fun, and then the real training starts. Fucking hell, that was deep on the flag. Didn't mean to save it, but it was pretty solid. I think one of the cleaner things with flag is when you actually get pretty far down, manage to press up. As soon as you get momentum, it's not crazy hard. Of course, it's a hard thing to do, but as soon as you actually start to move, then you can use the momentum to get up. But solid. I think each set got slightly better. So let's move on. Maltese holds. All right, so I just did a major mistake. Last session I did was at home, and it was the front lever one, where I did use my resistance band, and I did forget it. Which leaves me with literally only one band left, because the thickest one I have is, I haven't used in a while, so I didn't have it in my bag. The one I have, 2 to 7 kilograms of help, which is literally nothing. Especially the heavier you are, the less help in proportion or in relation to your own weight is gonna be. So this is almost like nothing. I would say these bands, the smallest ones, they are more mentally. Like, you know you're getting some help, and sometimes that increases the hold. But in general, you're taking away such a small portion of your overall weight that it doesn't really make a difference. But let's give it a try. This is way too wide. I think that's better. I used to do it on these ones when I got a lot of pain and fun, but it's worse for the holds. This is way better connection, bigger surface area. One more attempt. It's way too heavy. Today it's not just 100% power, and with this resistance band, I am pretty screwed. I'm gonna see if I do find another band on in the gym, so we can bump up the holds, because now I'm just too fatigued. I did find a band with a bit more help. Hopefully this helps me out, and we can bump up the seconds a bit. I do feel slightly fatigued in my elbows. I have been training a lot, and it's soon time for a deload. So that's why I put these ones on. Slightly support, not that much to be honest, but mainly for the heat, and that's sole purpose. Much better. I think a bit more help than I usually get, but since I am a bit fatigued today, it's just a good thing, to be honest. So I still spend a lot of time in the position. And I do think for this weekend, after Saturday or after Sunday, I'm gonna take a deload, because then on Thursday I'm going to India, and I do want to be fresh when I'm there. We're gonna have, I don't even know what to expect. I think it's gonna be one hell of a trip. It's a crazy community down there, and I do want to capture as much as possible to share, but also to remember. Let's do one more set. Yeah, I'm glad this one is over. Let's move on to supinated full plunge, which is slightly easier, especially on the elbows, and still hard as fuck. And for protraction, the core of those parts, but at least this point is slightly less pressure. definitely not my strongest of days. Just feel tired in the body. It's been a few really good sessions though. Like in the past, I think, few weeks, I've just been crushing it. So I know for a fact that a few bad sessions are to come. This is probably one of them where the energy just isn't on top. But that is definitely part of it. And as I talked about it in the car, I know that things always get better. And if this is a bad session right now, you should look back on a bad session I had last year, and you will see the difference. Like a bad session now compared to then is still, this session right now is probably peak session 1 year ago, and that's insane. So overall, the average performance is just increasing. And at the end of the day, that's the only sort of thing we can draw a conclusion from. Am I getting better or not? Definitely. Drop sets. I'm gonna save some energy for the last set, but holy crap. These sessions also, like, it's going downhill. You know, if you have a bad workout, the first set, maybe it's decent, but as soon as you have a few bad ones, you sort of lose that adrenaline, dopamine spirit as well, and then it's harsh. But we have a few more things. The other things, to be honest, is slightly easier to push through. Like weighted dips, in my opinion, I can always decrease the weight. This one is so much. You gotta be in a mental state that just holds up. You gotta feel the connection for the form, and that is harsh for holds. I also just want to let you guys know that we are now 2,100 people inside the Calisthenics Masterclass, and that's just insane. We have a lot of programs in there. We have insane community, of course, that's constantly growing. We have a lot of value posts in there where I post almost weekly, giving you a lot of information for how to train, tips and tricks, and in general, just how to master calisthenics. Then, of course, we are constantly growing, adding more things, so definitely something you want to check out. I'll leave the link up here for you to join, and I'll see you guys in there. Let's continue with the session. Let's get started with the dips. 100 kg. I hope that's gonna be still doable today, even though I'm slightly lacking the energy. But I have done it for a few sort of sessions right now, so my body should be pretty used to it. However, I am gonna focus on having good form, and if I do feel like I'm struggling with the reps, I'd rather just either decrease the weight or decrease the amount of reps and not let the bad form sort of occur, because that also comes with high chance of injury, which I definitely don't want. Not too bad. Definitely feels heavier than usual, but still like 100% doable. Sounding as well, I'm doing way slower just for having full control, which means longer time and attention, usually drains the body a bit quicker. But to be honest, it feels really good. I am pretty strong when it comes to this just short intervals with high load. So I bet if I were to add like 110, 120 kg as well, I would still probably be able to do about 6 reps. I do want to try that out pretty soon. Not today, definitely not today to do it. But after deload, give it a few sessions, and then definitely gonna bump up these numbers and just see where we're at. We're also gonna do a maxing video at some point, both for pull-ups, dips, all of these stats, just to get a good estimate and know where I am starting 2025 with which weights. But let's do one more set. Definitely think 3 sets times 8 is the limit today. But yeah, I think this is probably the last session before deload. I do feel like it's needed, not only in the sort of muscles, but mentally as well. Just been spending a lot of time in the gym for the last month, and I need slightly more pause. But let's move on. It is now time for the isolating work. But I want to start off by just telling you guys why I add a few weights in my training. From time to time it varies how much weights I add, but usually I almost always do some sort of weight training or use weights to isolate muscles, because that is the main thing. After my training or in my training, I always do compounding sort of movements. We have Maltese, we have plunge holds. You're activating literally everything. Weighted dips I mainly do because I really enjoy it. I do think it transfers a lot of strength to my pushing skills, the dynamic part, so plunge push-ups, handstand push-ups, 90 degrees. Not so much towards my static holds, because statics and dynamics are pretty different. Either way, I have those things, and then after that, if I still want to continue and target my weak spots, weights are extremely good for that. Because we can target straight arm strength without needing to train the lower sort of core connection. Protraction we can add, of course, but we can also do the other way around. If I don't want to work my upper body, only target my core, maybe that's one of my weaknesses to why I'm not getting longer holds, I can do that as well in the end of the session. And all of this together just means that I can target my skills even though I'm pretty fatigued from the previous things. And weights are extremely useful. More variations, change the weight for progressive overload, and we can just adapt way more than always using only body weight. So that is pretty much why I added, and there's a broad variety of things we can do. But one that I really love and I recommend you to try out is straight arm raises. Both for Maltese training, I do it now. I did it before for plunge training, and all of these things, just strengthening straight arm, conditioning, and then also gaining some really solid strength for the shoulders. Not gonna lie though, I do feel slightly fatigue. Even though this is isolating here, I am fatiguing my straight arm strength from the Maltese. But that is, I think, not necessarily just from the session, but overall just training a lot now for the past weeks. You just get a bit more fatigue each session, and perfect indication for deload. So that's what I'm gonna do, listen to the body. But let's do 2 more sets. I think 8 reps is gonna be solid. Get about 3 minutes rest between all of them. Might bump it up to 4 on the last set to keep it steady with the reps, but should be doable to get all of them in. definitely the limit. Let's get those 4 minutes and then do the last set. Zero protraction. So push through it. Only one more drill. And I'm gonna make the setup for it and then explain you which one that is. We need 2 boxes or something at least to lay on so that we don't touch the ground. And the basic idea here is to lay flat, and from here we wanna hold for the plunge position with the core. It gets the protraction and it gets the lower end of plunge, which is the PPT and the core connection. So let's give it a try. I will try the full one to begin with, but it is harsh. So I might stick with straddle because this exercise, it is definitely underestimated if you just watch it. And when you actually perform it, way harder than you think. Freaking nuts how heavy it is. I'm gonna check the form, but it feels extremely good. It's not really draining my arms. I do feel like the core, it's like the whole body is just shutting down, and in a weird way. And then of course the connection I can adjust a lot with the core, and that is nice. Not a lot of exercises. I think the hyperextension gets really close to it, but this one is truly good at simulating the actual plunge. Look pretty solid. So let's do another one with full. See if we can just max that one out. Should be able to get a good amount of seconds. But it feels extremely good. For both the shoulders in a good way, like of course a lot of strain is put there, but the core especially, and the glutes. I think the last one went pretty well. Let's do one last one, and actually the last thing for today. I've been here a while and I am looking forward to getting home, take a shower, and eat some protein. Right, that is gonna be pretty much a wrap, and not too bad of session. It started off pretty well with the handstand, and I was really happy with those attempts. Then the Maltese plunge workout, maybe not the craziest one, but still some solid holds. And then now wrapping it up with some isolating work, which is what I'm gonna add now in the future as well, to really target. And then that is gonna be for not too long of a period, because we have the competition coming up in April. And for that, I will turn more towards the endurance combination type of training. But until then, which is a few weeks at least, I will add some more isolating work. So that is the plan. I hope you enjoyed today's session. So see you guys in the next one. Choo-choo!